What's going on, Not Move Nation? Welcome to the Not Move podcast. Today is February 4th at 8:29 a.m. Eastern Time. Thank you to the supporters, subscribers, and followers. We really do appreciate you guys. Also, thank you to our sponsors, BetUS, MyBookie.ag, Walmart.com, Open Goal, the MLB and NFL Pro Shops, and W Energy Drinks. All right, I'll be talking about some NBA this morning. There are 7 NBA games on today. Whenever I was, doing my research this morning, I noticed that Jokic wasn't on the list when I was looking at a couple of statistics, like assists per game, rebounds per game. I think even like free throw attempts per game. I think some of that has to do with the lack of games that he's played this season. But anyways, we can get into that here in just a moment. Let's go over some injury updates. It's way too early, for me to give out picks with like injury updates and stuff. Usually about 1 hour before tip off, give or take, is when we really get more clarification on who's playing and who's not. The sources that I like to use for my injury updates are rotowire.com, ROTOwire.com, and the FanDuel Daily Fantasy app. So Josh Hart for the New York Knicks left the game yesterday against the Wizards in the third quarter. So they're not really saying why. So let's see if he plays today. Some other injuries that I saw when I was looking this morning. Anthony Edwards from Minnesota is questionable due to left elbow soreness. Julius Randle from Minnesota, questionable with a thumb issue. Vucevic, who was just traded from the Bulls to the Celtics, is questionable to play today. Castle for the Spurs is questionable to play. Typically, when players are questionable, there's about a 50-50 chance that they play. Sabonis is questionable for the Sacramento Kings today. James Harden was just traded from the Clippers to Cleveland. So that would be cool if he played today because they play today, Cleveland and the Clippers. But what I'm seeing here is that he is unlikely to play today. And then Garland, right? He was with Cleveland. He was in that trade deal for Harden. Garland, his debut is unknown, is what I'm seeing at this time. Obviously, there's still a lot of injury updates and trades that could happen between now and tip-off. But, just keep an eye out for that. First game that I'll talk about here is the Denver Nuggets at New York Knicks. The Denver Nuggets are on a 2-game losing streak. The Knicks are hot right now, guys. They are on a 7-game winning streak. Both of these teams are on a back-to-back. So both of these teams did play yesterday. The Knicks have won 2 regular season games in a row against Denver, and the Knicks have won the last 4 out of 5 regular season games against Denver. Denver is 8-0 on the money line on Wednesdays this season. A perfect 8-0. The Knicks are good, though, too. They're 8-3 on the money line on Wednesdays this season. Brunson does have a winning record throughout his career against Jamal Murray and Jokic. He's 8-6 against Murray, 9-7 against Jokic. But Jamal Murray does have a 14-5 career record against Mikal Bridges. Also, Tim Hardaway Jr. for the Denver Nuggets needs 4 3-point field goals made to pass Jason Kidd on the all-time 3-point field goals leaders list. THJ would move into 19th place on that list if he were to get those 4 3-point field goals today. Anyways, Denver is better against the spread this season. They're 30-21 against the spread, which ranks second best in the NBA compared to the Knicks, 28-23 against the spread. And, they rank eighth best in the NBA against the spread. Denver's 8-1 against the spread as a road underdog. They're underdogs today, but the Knicks are 17-8 against the spread as a home favorite. Both of those rankings, they both rank third in those rankings. So Denver ranks third best as a road underdog. The Knicks rank third best against the spread as a home favorite. When I'm looking at, vulnerabilities for these teams, whether it be points in the paint allowed, fast break points allowed, or 3-point field goals allowed per game, the biggest vulnerability that I see is that the Knicks rank 22nd in 3-point field goals allowed per game, according to teamrankings.com. Jamal Murray ranks ninth in the NBA and first for this Denver Nuggets team in 3-point field goals made per game. And then it's Tim Hardaway Jr., who ranks second on the Nuggets, 21st best in the NBA. The Knicks are pretty good at limiting points in the paint and fast break points. So their biggest vulnerability out of those three categories in regards to where they rank is going to be that 3-point shot. And then, the Nuggets are just about average at defending against all of that. Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns are good points in the paint scorers. They rank in the top 50 of the NBA in points in the paint per game. Denver ranks 14th in points in the paint allowed per game. Like I said, they rank pretty average at all these categories, that Nuggets defense. Bridges is the best fast break point scorer for the Knicks. Denver ranks 15th in fast break points allowed per game. And then 3-point field goals allowed per game, Denver ranks 14th. The top 3-point shooters for the Knicks in regards to 3-point field goals made per game are going to be McBride, Brunson, and Mikal Bridges in that order. All three of those guys rank in the top 50 of the NBA in 3-point field goals made per game. Now, there may be a category like assists or rebounds where I might not mention Jokic, like I was talking about at the beginning of the show. And I just think that's because the official statistics, he's not qualified for official statistics because of the lack of amount of games that he's played this season would be why I would think that. Anyways, the Knicks are good at preventing assists. They rank fourth best as a team. So I don't really see any vulnerability there. They rank fifth best in rebounds allowed per game to opposing teams. So I think assists and rebounds in general could be, tough for Denver to produce here. Really, Denver is above average in limiting assists and rebounds per game. So I won't get into all of that. The Knicks, they're really good at taking care of the ball. They don't turn the ball over a lot, and Denver doesn't force a lot of turnovers. So I think that could be advantageous for the Knicks today. Overall, Denver ranks 23rd in team defensive efficiency. The Knicks rank 12th. So, basically what I'm saying is that in general, the Nuggets defense is slightly below average, and the Knicks are slightly above average. Both of these teams send their opponents to the free throw line a little bit more than league average. The Nuggets rank 16th in opponent free throws allowed per game. So Karl Anthony, I mentioned this yesterday, Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson are the two guys that get to the free throw line for the Knicks, the top two guys, free throw attempts per game leaders. Karl Anthony Towns ranks 15th best in the NBA. Brunson ranks 23rd best in the NBA. So if you guys do like those players, points today, I do give them a slight extra benefit, considering that the Nuggets are slightly below average in regards to opponent free throws allowed per game. And then the Knicks rank 17th in that category. So they're slightly below average there too. Jamal Murray is the leader in free throw attempts per game for the Nuggets, but it could be Jokic. Like I was saying, I think they didn't have him listed on some of this stuff because of the lack of games that he's played. Jokic has had a triple-double in 2 out of 19 career games against the Knicks. He's had a triple-double in 4 out of 37 career games against Karl Anthony Towns. So not great history there with the triple-doubles for Jokic. And then Josh Hart, as I mentioned, he left the game early yesterday in the third quarter, but he has never had a triple-double in 22 career games against the Nuggets. So let's move on to the next game here. Minnesota at Toronto. Minnesota's on a 1-game losing streak. Toronto's on a 1-game winning streak. Neither of these teams played yesterday. Toronto has won 1 regular season game in a row against Minnesota. Minnesota is 3-5 on Wednesdays this season on the money line. Toronto's 6-3 on the money line on Wednesdays this season. Both of these teams are bad against the spread, but Toronto is worse. Minnesota ranks 7th worst, or excuse me, 7th. Yeah, Minnesota's worse. Excuse me. Minnesota's 23-28 against the spread. Toronto's 24-27. So, Minnesota ranks 7th worst. Toronto ranks 10th worst. So, yeah, Toronto has the advantage in regards to that spread trend. As a road favorite, Minnesota's 8-10 against the spread. Toronto's 3-4 against the spread. When I'm looking at these team defensive efficiencies, both of these defenses are really good. In regards to team defensive efficiency, Toronto ranks 5th. Minnesota ranks 6th best in the NBA. So I don't really see too many vulnerabilities on either side of the ball here. What I'll say is that the biggest vulnerability that I see for both of these teams is allowing their opponents to get to the free throw line. Both of them are getting towards the bottom of the league in that category. Toronto sends their opponents to the line 6th most out of any team in the league. The top free throw shooters in free throw attempts per game for the Timberwolves is going to be Anthony Edwards, Julius Randle, and Gobert. Anthony Edwards actually ranks 8th best in the NBA in that category. Julius Randle ranks 14th. So both of those guys are good at getting to the free throw line. Gobert, respectable. He ranks 45th. So if you guys are thinking about those guys for points today, you have that added benefit. But I did mention earlier that Anthony Edwards is a game time decision due to left elbow soreness, according to rotowire.com. And then Julius Randle is also questionable with a thumb issue. But anyways, yeah, Minnesota ranks 23rd in opponent free throws allowed per game. So they send their opponents to the free throw line pretty often. Brandon Ingram is the best man here for the Raptors. Free throw attempts per game, ranks 31st best in the NBA. And then Scotty Barnes ranks 37th best in the NBA, 2nd best on this team at getting to the free throw line. Rebounds allowed per game, Minnesota's average at that, so Scotty Barnes ranks 20th in rebounds per game, 1st on this team. So if you like Scotty Barnes rebounds props, you have that going for you, but I'm not solidifying this by the position, right? Scotty Barnes is projected to be a power forward. I know some of you like to use those NBA defense versus position tools, which I think are great. He's projected to be that power forward today, right? So I'm using the fantasypros.com source here. You may have your own that you like better, but according to this, I want to look just to see how many rebounds per game Minnesota allows to power forwards. And it looks like they're slightly above average. So just because Scotty Barnes is good at getting rebounds and Minnesota as a team is okay at defending against opponent rebounds doesn't mean that Scotty Barnes is going to eat rebounds. This isn't really a good example. So let's say that Minnesota, for example, ranked first, right, in rebounds allowed per game. So they didn't let their opponents rebound the ball very often. That doesn't necessarily mean that Scotty Barnes is going to have a tough time rebounding, right? What if Minnesota is just locked down at allowing rebounds to every position except they're really vulnerable to that power forward position in regards to rebounds. So I do think it is important, to look at those positional matchups and how teams defend against each position. Um, but Minnesota, like I said, both of these teams are pretty good defensively. Minnesota, their biggest weakness in out of points in the paint allowed per game, fast break points allowed per game, and 3-point field goals allowed per game. Their biggest weakness is points in the paint. They rank 16th in that category, so slightly below average. Scotty Barnes, once again, he's the leader for this Raptors team in points in the paint per game. And then it's RJ Barrett. Scotty Barnes ranks 19th best in the NBA. Barrett ranks 38th best. And then out of those three categories, Toronto's biggest flaw is the 3-point shot. So Anthony Edwards, DiVincenzo, and Naz Reid, generally speaking, could take advantage of that today. Anthony Edwards ranks 6th best in the NBA in 3-point field goals made per game. DiVincenzo ranks 10th best. Naz Reid ranks 36th best. Scotty Barnes, I'm seeing, has never had a triple-double in 7 career games against Minnesota. Anthony Edwards, I may have had a typo in my notes here, but you may want to double-check this, but I have in my notes 0 out of 9 career games against Toronto. I accidentally wrote Minnesota here in my notes, so I maybe looked up Anthony Edwards against Minnesota. I doubt it. I'm sure that is against Toronto. And then Julius Randle does have a triple-double in 1 out of 24 career games against Toronto. All right, so let's move on here to the Boston and Houston game. Both of these teams are on a 3-game winning streak. Boston is on a back-to-back today. Houston didn't play yesterday. Houston has won 2 regular season games in a row. I think I saw some comments in there. Blessed up P. I'll address those comments here in just a second if you had a question or something. Houston's won 2 regular season games in a row against Boston. Boston has a 5-3 money line record on Wednesdays this season. Houston is 6-2 on the money line on Wednesdays this season. You guys may want to check this too if you're interested in it. But from my understanding, Boston has won on February 4th, this exact date, in 5 straight games that they've played on February 4th. Anyways, Jaylen Brown has an 11-6 career record against Kevin Durant, which, by the way, I'm looking here at rotowire.com, and Kevin Durant is probable to play in this game. They're saying he's probably going to play tonight, but there is a injury designation on his name. Before I continue, let's see. I think the Jazz made off yesterday with them trades. Says blessed up P. The Suns are real eaters. Knicks Nuggets game goes over the total of 224.5. I'll see if I have time at the end of the show to address that question for you. They're blessed up, Pete. Thank you for the question. Knicks Nuggets over under 224.5. All right, I put it up at the bottom of my notes here, so I'll try to address that after I get done with the general stuff that I usually cover. So, Boston, once again, they're on a 3-game win streak. Houston's on a 3-game win streak. Oh, we were talking about against the spread trends, right? Boston has the 5th best against the spread record this season, whereas Houston ranks 8th worst. So Boston is better than Houston against the spread. Boston is also better against the spread as a road underdog than Houston is as a home favorite. Boston's the underdog in this one today. And Boston ranks 4th best in the NBA against the spread as a road underdog. They're 6-3 against the spread. And then Houston, 8-12 against the spread as a home favorite. which ranks seventh worst. Here's where I'll give Houston an advantage with when it comes to the against the spread trends is that Boston played yesterday and Houston did not. So Houston has rest advantage over Boston, right? Boston is 6-7 against the spread with rest disadvantage, whereas Houston is 7-2 against the spread with rest advantage, which ranks best in the NBA. So let's keep that in mind here. Both of these teams are good defensive teams as well. Houston ranks third in team defensive efficiency. Boston ranks ninth in that category. The biggest vulnerability that I see with Boston out of the points in the paint, fast break points, and three-pointers is going to be that three-point defense, right? Boston ranks 25th in that category. So they're close to the bottom of the league in three-point field goals allowed per game to opposing teams. So guys, for Houston that I saw on the list here, Reed Shepherd, Kevin Durant, and Jabari Smith. Reed Shepherd ranks 40th in the NBA in three-point field goals made per game. Kevin Durant ranks 43rd. Jabari Smith ranks 48th. And then, the biggest vulnerabilities out of those three categories that I see with Houston, it's going to be they rank 12th in points in the paint allowed per game and fast break points allowed per game. So Jaylen Brown, he is the points in the paint leader and fast break points per game leader for Boston. He ranks 9th in points in the paint per game and 18th in fast break points per game. And just so you guys know, Houston as a team has defended against the three-point shot very well. So Boston does have a lot of quality three-point shooters, right? Derek White, Anthony Simons, Hauser, Pritchard, all of them rank in the top 50 of the NBA in three-point field goals made per game. So I would maybe, if you were interested in one of those guys, I'd maybe look to see if Houston was specifically vulnerable to allowing three-point field goals to one of those positions, right? And then both of these teams are just good at defending against assists per game and rebounds per game. So I'm not really going to cover that. Jaylen Brown has had a triple-double in 1 out of 16 career games against Houston. Şengün has had a triple-double in 1 out of 8 career games against Boston. And then Amen Thompson has had 0 triple-doubles in 4 career games against Boston. Let's move on to this Pelicans at Bucks game. The Pelicans are on a 2-game losing streak. The Milwaukee Bucks 1-game win streak. Milwaukee is playing on a back-to-back today. The Pelicans did not play yesterday. Milwaukee did. So let me just address the against the spread trends with the rest advantage versus the rest disadvantage real quick. The Pelicans are 5-2 against the spread with rest advantage this season, which ranks second best in the NBA. Milwaukee is 1-5 against the spread with rest disadvantage, which ranks second worst in the NBA. Anyways, Milwaukee has won 2 regular season games in a row against the Pelicans. The Bucks have won 4 out of 5 regular season games in a row against the Pelicans. The Pelicans have a 2-8 money line record on Wednesdays this season. Milwaukee is 2-5 on Wednesdays this season on the money line. Let's see here. Against the spread. So the Pelicans, just in general, have a better against the spread record than Milwaukee does. The Pelicans are 28, 23-1 against the spread this season. And then Milwaukee's 20-28, which ranks 4th worst there for Milwaukee. The Pelicans, they have the best against the spread record as a road favorite this season. They're 1-0. But yeah, they do rank best in that category. Milwaukee's 5-6 against the spread as a home underdog this season, which ranks 8th worst. So overall, I give the Pelicans a against the spread advantage on all 3 of those trends that we talked about. The general against the spread, they're better as a road favorite against the spread than Milwaukee is as a home underdog, and then the Pelicans are better with rest advantage against the spread. And then Milwaukee is with rest disadvantage. The Pelicans, both of these teams are below average in regards to team defensive efficiency. I know that could sound like a pretty like difficult word to interpret here, but basically it's just judging, how good a defense is. So both of these teams are below average, and really the Pelicans are getting close to the bottom of the league in that category. Um, you know, the Pelicans are bad at defending against points in the paint and fast break points per game. But with Giannis probably being out again, there's trade rumors in the air with Giannis and possibly a calf issue. But that hurts Milwaukee because he is the leader for them, and nobody else for Milwaukee ranks in the top 50 in points in the paint per game or fast break points per game. So even though the Pelicans are bad at defending against those categories, Giannis not being in would hurt them there. But the Pelicans do allow the second most 3-point field goals per game to opposing teams. So that they're a very bad 3-point defense. So AJ Green, Ryan Rollins, Miles Turner all have general advantages, right? I'm not solidifying by the position that New Orleans guards, excuse me, the 3-point shot. But generally speaking, those three guys have an advantage today. AJ Green ranks 15th best in the NBA in 3-point field goals made per game. Ryan Rollins ranks 42nd. Miles Turner ranks 47th in that category. Also, if you were thinking about some assist props or rebound props for Milwaukee today, New Orleans is close to the bottom of the league and defending against that. Ryan Rollins, excuse me, Ryan Rollins, let me get a drink real quick. Thank you. All right. Ryan Rollins ranks 25th best in the NBA in assists per game, first on the team. And then Bobby Portis ranks first on the Bucks in rebounds per game, 41st best in the NBA in that category. Milwaukee, they're good at defending against points in the paint. Maybe that's different now with Giannis being gone, So I do think, like, looking at the last 3 games, I mean, how many games has Giannis been out? Let me just look at this real quick. How many games has Giannis been out? He's been out 4 games. So we can really look at, points in the paint allowed real quick. And let's see what Milwaukee has done against that in their last 3 games, right? Because when there's a big, like, absence from somebody, that could make a world of difference. I'm seeing Milwaukee has actually been pretty decent at limiting those points in the paint, even without Giannis in their last 3 games. So above average still. Anyways, where Milwaukee is worse within those 3 categories is the 3-point field goals allowed per game. Trey Murphy ranks first on this team and 14th best in the NBA in 3-point field goals made per game. He's projected to be the starting point guard for the Pelicans today. And I just want to kind of see how Milwaukee defends against that point guard position, right? They're below average in allowing 3-point field goals per game to opposing point guards, according to fantasypros.com. Obviously, there's a ton of other research that we could do on that throughout the day. I've done some other shows where I've done that type of research, so if you're interested in that and you're maybe not sure how to go about that, feel free to go watch some previous episodes that I've done on the NBA. But anyways, the Bucks are above average at defending against fast break points and points in the paint per game, so I'm not going to get into that. Assists allowed and rebounds allowed. Milwaukee is below average in those categories at defending against that. Derek Queen ranks 50th in the NBA in assists per game, and then he ranks 29th best in the NBA in rebounds per game. Once again, Milwaukee is just slightly below average at defending against the assists per game to opponents and rebounds per game to opponents. Sadiq Bey and Trey Murphy, I would give them, a free throw attempts advantage in this one. Milwaukee ranks 22nd in opponent free throws per game. So Milwaukee is, sending their opponents to the free throw line more than league average per game. Sadiq Bey ranks 44th best in the NBA in free throw attempts per game. Trey Murphy ranks 49th in that category. And I just had to look. Zion Williamson has a 0, or he's had a triple double in 0 out of 6 career games against Milwaukee. But Derek Queen has shown that he could get triple doubles this season. I wouldn't put it past him to possibly do that here today. I mean, it just kind of depends how Milwaukee defends against that position. But I think, Derek Queen is somebody, if you're interested in those triple-double props, somebody that could do it, right? That's going out on a limb a little bit there. But anyways, let's get into this Oklahoma City and Spurs game. Seemed like the Spurs kind of had the Oklahoma City's number there earlier on in the season, right? Anyways, Oklahoma City is on a back-to-back. So they played yesterday. The Spurs did not. So before I move on, let's talk about the rest disadvantage versus rest advantage against the spread trends. The Spurs are better against the spread with rest advantage than Oklahoma City is with rest disadvantage. Oklahoma City's 4-9 against the spread with rest disadvantage. The Spurs are 5-12 against the spread with rest advantage. So both of them do have a bad against the spread trend with those rest splits that we just did. But I just wanted to mention that. Anyways, Oklahoma City has won one regular season game in a row against the Spurs. Oklahoma City is 7-1 on the money line on Wednesdays this season. The Spurs are 7-2 on the money line on Wednesdays this season. Against the spread, I mean, both of these teams are pretty even when it comes to against the spread. The Spurs are slightly better. The Spurs are 25-23-2 against the spread. Oklahoma City's 25-26 against the spread. And then Oklahoma City's favored in this game last that I checked. They're 12-12 against the spread as a road favorite, but the Spurs are perfect 2-0. I know it's a small sample size. A perfect 2-0 against the spread as a home underdog, which ranks best in the NBA. Oh, yeah, both of these teams are good defensive teams as well. Oklahoma City ranks first in team defensive efficiency, and the Spurs are not far behind. They rank fourth in that category. The biggest vulnerability that I see for both of these teams is the three-point defense. The Spurs are average at that. They rank 15th in three-point field goals allowed per game. Oklahoma City's not necessarily a three-point sharp shooting team, but they do have Isaiah Joe, who I believe did good last night from Beyond the Arc. But he's the only guy for Oklahoma City that I saw that ranks in the top 50 in three-point field goals made per game. But Oklahoma City, that's really their Achilles heel here. They allow the third most three-point field goals to opposing teams. And Vassell and Champagnie are the leaders for the Spurs in three-point field goals made per game. Vassell ranks 31st best in the NBA, and Champagnie ranks 34th best in the NBA in that category. Both of these teams are above average in assists allowed per game. The Spurs are above average in rebounds allowed per game, so they're not allowing a lot of rebounds to opposing teams per game. But Oklahoma City is. They've allowed the 6th most rebounds per game to opposing teams. So if you're thinking about Wembanyama and or Cornette on those rebounds, you have that advantage for you. Now, I'll just, look one step further before I move on here and just look to see, how Oklahoma City defends against centers rebounds per game. According to fantasypros.com, they're about average, or not the Spurs, Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City is about average in regards to rebounds allowed per game to that center position. So on paper, it looks like Wembanyama and Cornette have great advantages in that category, but then you solidify it by the position, and it's still good, but could be better. And then that's about it. If I don't see any big time defensive vulnerabilities, I'm just gonna go ahead and keep it rolling. But yeah, Wembanyama has not had a triple double in 8 career games against Oklahoma City. De'Aaron Fox has not had a triple double in 23 career games against Oklahoma City. SGA has not had a triple double in his last 25 games against the Spurs. And then Castle, who I believe I said is questionable to play today, Stephon Castle. Yes, he is questionable to play today, but he does not have a triple double in 7 career games against Oklahoma City. We have 2 more games to cover here. We have the Memphis Grizzlies at Sacramento Kings. Memphis, 1-game losing streak. Sacramento Kings, 9-game losing streak for the Sacramento Kings. But today is Malik Monk's birthday, who plays with the Sacramento Kings. So do what you want with that information. But neither of these teams played yesterday, okay? Memphis has won 2 regular season games in a row against Sacramento, though. Memphis is 4-5 on Wednesdays this season. Sacramento's 2-7 on Wednesdays this season on the money line. Sacramento is the worst team against the spread this season. They're 19-32 against the spread. Memphis is not far behind. They rank 4th worst. They're 20-28 against the spread this season. And as we know, Jaren Jackson Jr. was traded from Memphis yesterday, so he's not, going to be with them tonight. He's a good defender, so maybe Memphis, even though statistics say that they're good at defending against points in the paint per game and fast break points, maybe this is where we start to see them take a step back. So we have to keep that in mind with the trade deadline. With these numbers could really change with some of these trades. But anyways, Sacramento is bad they allow the second, not just a bad team, but they allow the second most points in the paint per game to opposing teams. The 2 top points in the paint scorers for Memphis are not playing today, from my understanding, Zach Edey and Ja Morant. So, but if you know somebody from Memphis who's good at scoring points in the paint, I do think that they could take advantage of that today against that weak Sacramento points in the paint defense. And then, Memphis is bad at guarding against the 3-point shot. They rank 4th worst as a team. So Levine is the best 3-point field goal shooter per game. For the Kings, he ranks 27th best in the NBA. He's projected to be that shooting guard tonight. If we solidify this by the position that he plays, Memphis is below average at allowing 3-point field goals made per game to opposing shooting guards. But what if Levine's been cold lately? So I would look into that stuff. What if he's been cold? What if he has a terrible history against Memphis or one of the Memphis players, So that's some other interesting stuff that I'll leave to you guys to look at, or maybe somebody else is going to be talking about that during their live stream today. Both of these teams are below average in assists allowed per game, slightly below average. Sacramento ranks 21st in assists allowed per game. So Cam Spencer is the leader for the Memphis Grizzlies in assists per game, ranks 24th best in the NBA in that category. Memphis ranks 16th in assists allowed per game, so slightly below average. Russell Westbrook ranks 12th best in the NBA and first for the Sacramento Kings in that category. But we know Sabonis is capable of the assists, right? I think he's missed some time this season though. So just because I don't mention somebody like Sabonis when I'm talking about assists, doesn't mean he can't do it, right? But I think once again they just didn't have him in those official statistics based on the lack of amount of games that he's played this season. Rebounds allowed per game. Both of these teams are slightly below average. Sacramento ranks 20th in that category. Aldama for the Memphis Grizzlies, the projected starting center for the Memphis Grizzlies. He's questionable to play today, though. So what I'm seeing here on rotowire.com due to a knee issue, but he is the leader for the Memphis Grizzlies and ranks 42nd best in the NBA in rebounds per game. And then Renault ranks 48th best in the NBA in rebounds per game. First on the Kings. Memphis is slightly below average in allowing rebounds per game. But once again, Sabonis is capable of getting rebounds, obviously, right? Sacramento does allow their opponents to get to the free throw line a lot. So if you know anybody from Memphis who's good at getting to the free throw line and you like them for points tonight, you have that in your favor. Jaren Jackson Jr. was the leader for Memphis in free throw attempts per game, but he's not with them anymore. And then just for your guys, for the triple-double guys, Sabonis has a triple-double in 2 out of 22 career games against Memphis, and I don't believe he has one this season. And then Russell Westbrook has had a triple-double in his last 4 out of 25 games against Memphis. And then the last game that we'll talk about here is the Cleveland Cavs at Los Angeles Clippers. Neither of these teams played yesterday. Cleveland is on a 2-game regular season game winning streak against the Clippers. Cleveland has won 2 regular season games in a row against the Clippers. Cleveland is 6-5 on the money line on Wednesdays this season. The Clippers are 2-3 on the money line on Wednesdays this season. Evan Mobley was born in California. Is he? He's still out though. Jarrett Allen was also born in California, so maybe Jarrett Allen will have some friends and family out in the stands today. Harden revenge game. I'm kidding, sort of. If he plays, that would be great, but it's not looking like he's going to. The Cavaliers rank 3rd worst against the spread this season. They're 20-31. The Clippers are 24-25 against the spread this season. And then the Clippers are also better against the spread as a home underdog than the Clippers are as a road favorite. The Clippers are 4-2 against the spread as a home underdog, which ranks 6th best in the NBA. And Cleveland is 5-9 against the spread as a road favorite this season. Vulnerabilities that I see with these teams, both of them are good at limiting points in the paint per game, but both of them are below average in allowing fast break points. The Clippers rank 20th in fast break points allowed per game. Donovan Mitchell ranks 5th best in the entire NBA in that category. So just based on that alone, without solidifying by Donovan Mitchell's position, I do give Donovan Mitchell an advantage there. And then, Cleveland ranks 25th, so they're even worse than the Clippers are in fast break points allowed per game. Kawhi Leonard ranks 4th in that category. So I think Donovan Mitchell and Kawhi Leonard have fast break points advantages tonight just based on those general statistics. And then 3-point field goals allowed per game. Both of these teams are below average in allowing 3-point field goals to opposing teams. Donovan Mitchell, once again, is on this list. He ranks 2nd best in the NBA in 3-point field goals made per game. And then Kawhi Leonard's up there with the Clippers. Cleveland ranks 24th in 3-point field goals allowed per game, so they're slightly worse than the Clippers are at defending against that 3-point shot. Kawhi Leonard ranks 24th best in the NBA in 3-point field goals made per game. If you guys like anybody for assists for the Clippers tonight, Cleveland is slightly below average in assists allowed per game to opposing teams. And then Cleveland is slightly below average in allowing rebounds to opposing teams. So Zubac ranks fifth best in the NBA in rebounds per game. And Cleveland is below average at allowing rebounds per game to that center position, which is what Zubac is projected to play tonight. The Cleveland Cavaliers are below average at defending against rebounds per game to that specific position. And then we had a question, and I'm going to have to get out of here. We had a question here from Blessed Up P, a longtime supporter of mine. Shout out Blessed Up P. He says, do you think the Knicks Nuggets game goes over 224.5 tonight? Well, I mentioned this yesterday, and I'll mention it again today. For people that may have not tuned in yesterday, referee assignments haven't even come out yet. So, and neither have injury information. So I think, those pieces of information are valuable and can help with gauging whether or not this game will go over or under. But generally speaking, let's go look at against the spread NBA trends. And I have just a couple minutes where I could do this. And then I will see you guys next time. But Knicks and Nuggets. So I'm looking at teamrankings.com, right? Over under trends. I'm seeing that the Nuggets are the best team to the over this season. They're 32-19 to the over this season, which ranks best. So that's just telling you that the Nuggets in games that they play, they are good at taking that total over. And then the Knicks are 25-26, which still is above average, even though it's a losing record. Well, I would say it's about average. All right. So Knicks, by the way, Blessed Up P, this was the finals prediction that we had at the beginning of the season. So yeah, this is an NBA Finals preview tonight. That's my prediction. I'm a little biased being a Nuggets fan, but yeah, I'm looking forward to this one, man. But yeah, so based on those trends, it looks good. But then we could go look at Nuggets versus Knicks history, right? It's going to take me to the land of basketball.com. And let's just see how many times these teams have gone over the 224. So how many times they had 225 or more points, 225 or more in their last few meetings, right? The last two out of 3 games, they've gone over that. 2 out of 4, 3 out of 5, 3 out of 6, 4 out of 7, 4 out of 8. 4 out of 9. Looks like the last 4 out of 10 games. You may want to double check, but it looks like the last 4 out of 10 games have gone over. I mean, is this going to be a prime time game too? Is this the one going to be on ESPN? Will there be a lot of eyes on the game? Typically, eyes that I see on a game, I think the less likely it goes over. So, but the trends seem to be in your favor if you like the over in this one. Obviously, there's a lot more stuff that we could look up, but due to time, I'm not necessarily able to look at everything that I want to about this game going over or under. So, although the little data that I've seen has kind of somewhat suggested that it goes over the 224.5. I'm going to have to lean towards the under on it. But once again, there's so much more information that still needs to come out for me to make really any accurate predictions on these games. So, but thank you for the question, and thanks for being in the audience there. Blessed Up P. I hope you have a great day, and that goes to the rest of you. Thank you all so much for the support and tuning in. I hope this information is helpful for you guys, and yeah, we really appreciate it. Also, thank you to the sponsors: BetUS, MyBookie.ag, Walmart.com, Open Gold, the MLB and NFL Pro Shops, and W Energy Drinks. All right, everybody. I will see you guys tomorrow. And was there anything else that I wanted to say? I don't think so. All right. Take care, everybody. Good luck today.
This non-casual podcast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or reused without the authorized written consent of the Not Move Podcast Network. Thank you, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.